What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy MXP, and today we are taking a stroll down memory lane. So, some people you might remember what I'm talking about, some people maybe you don't, but it's important to learn your history and everything like that. So, back in the days, we had these things called magazines. Yes, I know, print magazines, not just online, scrolling pictures and things like that. And when I first decided to build out this room, as you can see behind me, a bunch of stuff going on. I wanted to have some like unique items, some knickknacks and things like that. I've gone to multiple stores and ordered online from Redbubble to Box Lunch to, GameStop, Amazon, and then also some like local retro game stores. And what I really wanted to have in this room was some Nintendo Power magazines or some like retro magazines and stuff like that. And I just remember back in the days, when you had like a GameStop subscription, you would get like a Game Informer for like a year, just coming to the house every month, just showing you all the new games coming out. This was before we had all this inside information and leaks and everything like that. But Nintendo Power was just that really dope, like insider information, giving you previews for the new games coming out, some tips and tricks before games came out, everything like that. It's just really, really nostalgic. So I wanted to just show off some of my collection based off of Nintendo Life's top 10 list that they did put together. So I don't have every magazine that they mentioned on their top 10 list. I have 7 out of the 10. We'll go through the whole top 10, but I'll, show the 7 that actually has. So if you are new to the channel, you're into this type of content, things like that, please make sure you are subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, check out my TikTok, Snapchat, everything I post on there as well. So with all that out of the way, let's get right into this list. So starting off with number 1, they actually put the first issue of Nintendo Power, which I do not have, but it does show a like claymation figure of Mario on the cover. Of course, it's the first edition and everything like that. I was looking into it on eBay, possibly to grab it, but I think like the cheapest I saw was around like $180 or close to $200, especially now that Nintendo Power is not a thing anymore. Like those prices keep going up, especially if you want to get one in good condition. Like some of these issues are like older than me, like they're 35, 40 years old. So trying to find, the first edition and things like that all intact. And that's the thing too, if you're looking into collecting some of these, it's kind of the same as people that try to get complete in-box editions of video games. They come with certain inserts, certain posters and things like that. And that's something I had to learn. So if you see a lot of variable pricing, that is probably why. Not just the condition of the magazine, but you could look up, do your research. There are online forums and archives of the magazine, so you can kind of see what is, supposed to be all together. Make sure that you read the description, flip through them, and make sure they got everything that's, required for it to be, complete in box. I don't know what you would call it, just fully there, I guess. But yeah, so issue 1 is the first one on the list. Now the second one on Nintendo Life's list is volume or issue 28, which I do have right here. This is Super Mario World on the cover. And the funny thing is, when I was collecting, I was also looking through their list just to see like, okay, what else am I missing? And this one definitely makes sense for me to get. I do love the Super Nintendo, and this issue came out back in I think it was 1990. So you got Super Mario World for the SNES on the front, but then as you flip through, you'll see, like again, like I mentioned, guides to it showing all the overworld for the game. And the funny thing is, I do like this game. This is one of my favorite Mario games, like 2D or 3D. But the thing is, I had Super Nintendo, and my file would never save for more than like if you went like a day or two, like the file would just start all over, and I had to play the game all over again. I got confused in the Forest of Illusions or whatever. So I actually didn't beat this until the SNES Classic came out a few years ago. So, but it ended up being it is on the Nintendo Switch Online if I ever want to get back to it. But yeah, definitely had to add this to the collection. It was actually the first one I got because I was checking Retro Game Store online. It said they had it in store. I was in the area for a convention. I just happened to swing by and I was able to get it. So definitely happy to have this one in the collection. On the next one they have is another one I don't have, which is issue 47. So this one had Star Fox on the front. I always found this Star Fox like art to be very creepy. I'm also not a Star Fox fan, but A lot of people are. I thought Star Fox 64, which I do own, was the first one in the series, but you see this one, and yeah, I mean, I don't know why it's on their list. I'm good on that. Then next up, we have issue number 85, which is right here. We have it, see Mario right on the front, and this is Mario from N64, and you see the N64 in the front. This is actually from June of 1996, so this is volume 85, and the cool thing is when you go through it, this was for the launch year of the N64, and you could look through and see all the games that were coming to the N64. So you had like previews for Zelda. This was called Zelda 64 at the time. Even when Ocarina of Time had a name, they still was calling it Zelda 64. But you could see all the games. And what was really cool that I noticed in here was, if you look closely, there's actually screenshots for what would end up being Kirby's Air Ride on the GameCube. So this was like 7 years before that, which is actually insane to see. And then now that we're getting the Switch to Kirby Air Riders, like the sequel, it's like actually insane to look back on it. Like you're looking at like almost 30 years before that. One of my favorite consoles of all time, a lot of people's favorite console of all time, one of the most nostalgic. So I definitely had to pick up this issue as well. The next up, I had to get issue number 100 right here. And what's really cool about this one is it did have a lot, again, back to the Nintendo 64. This one had a lot of like countdowns on like top 100 games, top 100, this, that, and the third. A lot of N64, previews, Bomberman with Conker's Bad Fur Day, things like that. So, of course, the 100th issue, Nintendo Power had to add that into. The next up is the most expensive one that I have by far. You see, it's in this protective case, but we have the Ocarina of Time edition. This is issue number 114, and this came out in November 1998. So this was the same month that Ocarina of Time did launch on Nintendo 64. And again, that's my favorite game of all time, favorite franchise of all time. I had to get it, and it had very intensive like looks at the game, a little bit of guides or some of the early dungeons. Also had these cool posters, which some are intact, a little bit was ripped up a little bit. So I don't want to say how much I paid for this magazine. It was under $100 for sure. But yeah, if you want to get a full like version of this, like fully intact, you're going to spend a good amount of money. But either way, like I just love looking at some of these old ads. Like that, a competition where you could win one of the gold cartridges for Zelda Ocarina of Time, and this cool t-shirt and all this kind of stuff. So that's the type of stuff that like needs to come back, that customer interaction and energy. And like when I'm looking through some of these old magazines, I'm just seeing a lot of competitions and artwork. Like there's like fan submitted artwork and stuff like that. Man, we need some form of that still. Like you see developers sometimes like retweeting people that post fan art on Twitter and stuff like it just don't hit the same. It just don't hit the same, man. Some of y'all don't know what I'm talking about, but those that do, y'all know. If you know, you know. All right, then next up we got volume 150 right here. So you see Luigi right here for the GameCube. This is the GameCube launch issue, and what I tried to do is get all of Nintendo's launch issues for the most part. Like I got the Wii one, I got the Game Boy Advance, I got the GameCube N64, everything like that. So just to go through it again, I didn't grow up on the GameCube or anything like that. I did have a Wii, but it's just cool to have, the first edition that shows you the preview of all the games that were on the horizon. Super Mario Sunshine, Luigi's Mansion, of course, which was a controversial decision back in the day for them to launch with Luigi's Mansion, but still, now you see what the franchise is. Luigi's Mansion 3, I think, sold like 9 million copies or something on the Switch. So again, really good copy to good. GameCube didn't do as well, and kind of made Nintendo, shift their focus a little bit with the Wii to be more innovative and things like that. But it was still cool to see. And one of the other cool things that I noticed just flipping through some of these is the amount of, the big news nowadays is the fact that the sports games are coming back to like the Switch 2 and stuff, which is a big deal. But it's like back in the day, like Madden was on 64, like 2K, all this stuff. You see a bunch of these sports game ads were on Nintendo console. So it's just something recently that hasn't been a thing, but it's good to see that they are coming back and supporting the current Nintendo hardware. All right, next up we got issue 187 from 2004. This is one of my favorite systems of all time. A lot of people's, at least the DS Lite, the Nintendo DS edition. And man, what can I say about the Nintendo DS, man? That was a game changer. When it, like the Game Boy was always super popular. The Game Boy Advance SP specifically changed the game with, you know, the flip open. It only had one screen, but it had lights on the screen. But then you had an touch screen with a stylus and everything. Like the Nintendo DS was a game changer. Now some games weren't that intuitive when it came to touchscreen controls. Like Super Mario 64 DS was kind of strange to play with the D-pad, and then you could also use the stylus. That was weird. Phantom Hourglass, that was very weird to try and play with it. But either way, I did recently buy it. This is a 3DS I have right here, you know, special Mario edition that I did do a video on, so you could check that out. But I did pick up a few DS games. I got both the Sonic Rushes, so Sonic Rush, Sonic Rush Adventure, Phantom Hourglass, and Spirit Tracks. I never beat Spirit Tracks, and then I got Chrono Trigger as well, which cost me a pretty penny. But everyone's been talking on Chrono Trigger. I need to just play it at some point, and hopefully I'll do a review on the channel. But yeah, so that was issue number 187. Now, second to last, we got issue number 211 here with, of course, Twilight Princess, one of my favorite Zelda games. You can actually see it better over here. Yeah, so this is from January 2007. And the game actually came out in November 2006. I remember it launched on the Wii and the GameCube. But man, what can I say about Twilight Princess? But just going through it, I mean, again, just showing you a lot of the new features and giving you like a nice little preview for the game. You got these cool posters and stuff inside. You got just a real look at, man, I think Twilight Princess is very, I know a lot of people like it, but I just think it was really underrated with how much the graphics and art style really changed with, you know, the way the the way the franchise went, with especially with the Wii not being super graphically intensive. But yeah, it was pretty cool too. And I saw they had again, just these options of the player's guides, and you was able to get like a soundtrack if you won and stuff like that. And actually I did a video on like crazy ads, and I don't know if I added this one in the video, but this one was crazy. Put Laura in the palm of your hands and you see Lara Croft. So that's kind of crazy to think of Nintendo doing something like that. But either way, it was a different time. Yeah, man, it was good times. And then the last on Nintendo Life's list is issue 285, which of course is the last issue ever. And again, just like the first issue, the last issue is gonna cost a pretty penny. I think it's close to $200, and I just couldn't. I can't. I have some other issues as well that were on this list that you could see. And if you check out my Couch Convos video, that I have the two like things behind me that show the different Nintendo powers just on the background or whatever. Like I got one when like Sonic first came to the GameCube. I got one with Shadow on his motorcycle. So some really cool different ones I just grabbed just because they're like, the covers was either games that I really like or franchises I really like. So, but yeah, man, the nostalgia be hitting hard. Sometimes nowadays, it's nice to kind of take a step back. And I know we talk about like live service games and layoffs and studio. Sometimes it's nice to go back when we didn't know as much stuff was going on. We just played the games, liked what we liked, and kept them. Yeah, but that pretty much sums it up. Appreciate you guys for checking out this video. Let me know in the comment section below, what was your favorite issue that I showed? What are some favorite, it doesn't even have to be Nintendo Power. It could be Game Informer, it could be PlayStation Magazine, Xbox Official Magazine, any of those. So let me know if you got a demo disc that came in it that was one of your favorites that you played a bunch because you couldn't afford a game at the time or whatever. Y'all let me know. I want to hear about all your experience with these, you know, retro gaming magazines and your experience with it. Y'all let me know in the comment section below. Again, subscribe if you have not already. Check all the links in the description. Leave a like on this, share with your friends, and I will catch you on the next video.